Hello everyone, welcome back to my channel, and it's time for another monthly TBR. So this is my TBR game. I will leave a link to all of the playlists down below. So last month I had one book to read. I managed to complete it. It was very difficult, but I managed it. And that was Chain of Iron by Cassandra Clare. So this was the only book I technically had to read during the month. I did of course read more, but that is for the wrap up. So that was the only one I had to read. And thankfully kind of for that, because I did end up having a bit of a reading slump and I'm not 100% sure is it over. So I'm hoping that I won't get a really big number of spins because still kind of slumpish, and also because like April / start of May is like exam time. So let's get into it. So let's spin the wheel to find out how many spins I have to do this month. Seven. Okay, that's more than I wanted. If I don't get any added onto it, I should manage it. Spin number 1. A 5. 1, 2, 3, 4. 5. A big book. Oh my god, no. So the very first spot I landed on was Big Book, which is a book over 500 pages. And instead of going for one that's like just on the 500 mark, I decided to go for The Will of Ascension by Brandon Sanderson, which is over 700. I read the first one in January and I keep meaning to pick up this one, but it's just so big and I haven't been able to make time for it. I was supposed to pick it up in March. I mean, supposed to. But I just, again, because I was in a slump, I was not in the mood to pick this up. So I'm forcing myself to do it this month. So this is the second book in the Mistborn trilogy, which is part of Brandon Sanderson's Cosmere. It follows this world where the bad guy has won and he has been ruling for like thousands of years. This group of people, they have powers. All of the power in the world is called allomancy. Mistings are ones that can use one metal to get a power, and Mistborn can use all of the metals to get all of the different powers. And so two Mistborn come together and they try to take down the bad guy. I've heard some people say that every book gets better and better, and then I've heard some people say this is still a good book, but it does have middle book syndrome. But I don't think I've heard anyone say that this is like the best book in the series. So, so we'll see. Spin number 2 is an 8. Where do I want to go? Okay, so this has a boat. This has a boat. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Adult fantasy. So then the next space I have landed on was an adult fantasy, which I actually have a lot of adult fantasies kind of on the go. And so I'm going to say The Stone Sky by N.K. Jemisin, but I'm also going to say it could be The Obelisk Gate. I'm currently like 50 pages into The Obelisk Gate, and if I don't finish that before the end of March, I still have a couple of days to do that. Because when I'm filming this, I still have a couple of days to do that. But if I don't finish it, I will probably just count The Obelisk Gate for my adult fantasy instead, which is the second book, and this is the third book. And you can't tell me I'm not allowed to do that because my game, my rules. Obviously, if I'm like 100 pages from the end of The Obelisk Gate, I probably won't count it. But like if I'm only like halfway or less than halfway, I'll count that as my adult fantasy instead. This series is quite difficult to describe. But in the first book anyway, we follow 3 different perspectives, and in this world they have these kind of life-ending events called seasons, and we follow 3 different perspectives. So we have a girl who is going off to this kind of academy, we have a young woman who is going on a mission with these powers that she has, and then we have an adult woman whose child has just been murdered by her husband, and she is off trying to find her other child and seek revenge on her husband. And she's doing that all while a season is happening. It is a really fascinating story, and I'm interested to see where it's going to go. So, okay, so that means we have our first token, which is the beach token. And we're on to spin number 3. 7. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. A book with an adaptation. So the next spot I landed on was an adaptation. So this one I'm slightly cheating for because I have decided to go for Rule of Wolves by Leigh Bardugo. It is not out yet. Rule of Wolves is a sequel to King of Scars, and that is all in the Grishaverse, and the Grishaverse is getting a TV show adaptation, but technically not King of Scars or Rule of Wolves. I don't think the rights to those have been bought. But Shadow and Bone and the Six of Crows duology are being made into a TV show, which comes out at the end of April. So I'm counting it because it's part of the universe and the same characters are in it. I can't really tell you much about King of Scars because it involves characters from both the Grisha trilogy and from the Six of Crows duology. I didn't like how the first book ended, but I'm hoping I will enjoy Rule of Wolves. I kind of want to read this as soon as possible because supposedly there's spoilers floating around and I don't want that. Spin number 4. That's another 8, which means if I get a third 8, I'll have to add a spin. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. And that is a blank. Okay, so for the blank, I'm shuffling them. Okay, so the Poppy War or A Sky Beyond the Storms. And that is black, so A Sky Beyond the Storm. So next was a blank, and for this I spun and I got A Sky Beyond the Storms by Sabathir, and this is the last book in the Ember Quartet, and I haven't been the biggest fan of it. I've liked it, but I haven't loved it, but I want to finish out the series because I read every other book in it, and it came out in like December, so I need to get on that soon. I've seen a lot of mixed opinions on it. I've seen a lot of people love it and think it was just an absolutely perfect conclusion, and I've seen other people think it was really anticlimactic and just let the whole series down. I'm looking forward to seeing how it goes, but I'm not like, it's not like my most anticipated read of the year, so hopefully I won't have too high expectations. In the first book anyway, we follow Leia and Elias. Leia, her brother, is taken as a prisoner and she wants to break him out. And so she kind of joins up with the rebellion and she goes to spy on in this military academy called Blackcliff. And Elias is one of these students there, but he does not want to be there. He hates it there. And then a competition for who is going to be the next emperor happens, and the two of those stories interconnect, and then they kind of have to help each other out. Spin number 5 is a 10. I have to move our counter up one step closer to the end. Is another blank. So now for another blank. Okay, so Kingdom of Copper by S.A. Chakraborty or The House in the Cerulean Sea by T.J. Klune. And that is The House in the Cerulean Sea by T.J. Klune. So then we landed on another blank, and I landed on The House in the Cerulean Sea. As far as I know, it's kind of like set in our kind of world, but there's magical people, and these magical people face a lot of discrimination, and there's also magical children and there's magical orphanages. And this guy called, I think he's called Lionel maybe, he gets sent to one of these orphanages because he is like super like by the book, and his boss kind of want him to see is everything going okay over there. And then I think he learns a lot about like these magical children and all of this, and I also think he falls in love with the person running the orphanage, and yeah, it sounds adorable. So spin number 6. A 2. 1, 2. Okay, so this is a cutout space. And so how this works is hopefully, what I'm hoping for is a boat or a plane so I can move to another island. But for example, this one says have a baby. So I'm going to read a book that has some sort of family element to it. So basically I kind of just take what it says and think of a book that might have something related to that. So maybe a main character is a parent or something like that. We'll see. So then for spin number 6, I landed on the have a baby spot, and I decided I will choose something that is family orientated or has a family or has a parent in it, etc. And I decided to go for Fool's Errand by Robin Hobb. I need to read this for Elder Ling Along, which is hosted by Becca and the Books and a couple other YouTubers. But there's quite a big family in here, I suppose, because it follows a whole, like, it follows royalty, and, you know, I can't really tell you too much about the family aspect because that would be spoilers, but I mean, it follows Fitz, who we met in the Farseer trilogy, and he was the illegitimate son of the king in waiting, so he has relatives in, like, Buckkeep, and yeah, I'm gonna keep it vague. I can't really tell you what this is about because it is the third series in the Realm of Elderlings, and it is the second series following the people of the Six Duchies. The Farseer trilogy, and it follows Fitz from when he's a young boy to when he's an adult, and when he is just a child, he is left at the keep by his maternal grandfather because he doesn't want to have to feed him and take care of him anymore. And then he gets brought to Buckkeep, and he is taken care of by Beric, who was his father's right-hand man before his father abdicated the throne. And then one day the king kind of catches him and is like, yeah, I can make use of you, because he is in a perfect position to kind of fit in with the nobility, so that he can, like, act as an assassin, but also he doesn't have any right to the throne. And then hopefully our final spin, which is spin number 7. A 4. Yes, that means it's my last spin. Oh my god. 1, 2, 3, 4. A YA fantasy. And that leaves one more to go, and that is YA fantasy, which I was getting kind of stressed because, like, oh no, I'm not going to be able to fit this book into any of these, but it's okay. We managed it. And that is Windwitch by Susan Dennard. This is the second book in the Witchland series, which I am rereading, and I am loving it. I loved rereading Truthwitch so much. I almost cried at a particular scene. So I'm reading this for both Witchlands Along, hosted by J.A. Reads, and I also have my own Discord group that I'm reading with a couple of people. So if you want to join in and talk about it while you're reading it, I always have that link down below. But yeah, so this is the second book in the Witchland series, and this one, I have a feeling on reread I'm gonna give it 5 stars. I gave it a 4-star the first time, but I was so close to giving Truthwitch a 5-star this time, and I also gave that a 4-star the first time, and I like this even more than Truthwitch the first time, so I think I might give this a 5-star this time, but we'll have to see. This series, it follows a couple of perspectives. In the first book, we mainly follow Safi and Isolde, and they kind of just want to run away from their current lives, and they are making up the money. And then when their plan for getting their money that Safi lost in a card game the night before goes wrong, a blood witch catches Safi's scent, and Safi is a truth witch, which means she can tell truth for lie, and in this world that is a very valuable little gift to have, because the 20-year truce is coming to an end and lots of people would kill to have a truth witch by their side. So then they must go on the run away from this blood witch before he can sell Safi to the highest bidder. And then in this one, it's called Windwitch, and so we kind of follow one of the other perspectives that we meet in the first book, who is Merrick. So we follow him a small bit more in this, but we still have a lot of Safi and Isolde, and I'm very excited to reread this. So that brings us to the end of this. I think I should be able to read all of these books, but I think I might be pushing it. So fingers crossed is basically what I'm saying. So thank you guys so much for watching. I do hope you enjoyed. If you did, subscribe, and I will see you all in the next one. Bye!